as a leader. Honestly, people ask me all the time, how long you been doing what you're doing? I'm like, since second grade.
Yeah.
Wow. They're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, leading people. I've been a captain, a coach, a teacher, a leadership coach, a trainer. In some way, shape, or form, been leading people since second grade, basically.
When you say leading people, what do you mean? How does a second grader lead people?
And as a captain of a sports team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Line leader.
Yep. Line leader, all those things. Yeah. So what I'm doing is what I've been doing my whole life.
It's basically just you. You're not doing anything because it's.
Yeah. It's just, I'm just showing up, and now I'm just trying to share what I've learned and how it can help.
Perfect.
Especially what I've learned in the sports arenas and how that branches over to business, because some of your best entrepreneurs tend to be athletes of some sort, or were. And that's how they think.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of the perspective that I come into. I never try to lead with, I'm the business guru. Nope, I am not. Right. I know people. I know people really well. I'm very curious about human behavior in general. And that curiosity gets me every single time. And that's kind of what I've devoted my life to master and to help other people master, so that they can lead people better, so that people are happier. Because, that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah, happiness is not bad.
Like it's, but I feel like it's all, especially with a bunch of dudes, it's like, are you happy? No, that matters, man.
Yeah.
Like, that matters a lot.
Hey, life's tough.
It is, man. So it's like, if we got to go to a place for 8 hours a day that we don't like and doesn't make us happy, that sucks.
Right.
That sucks.
And like, if you're doing that, stop, leave, do something different.
Exactly.
Right. And like, I'm talking from experience. So if you're like, well, how do you do that? Trust me, I jumped off the cliff. You can too.
Hey.
So yeah, that's what I mean when it comes to what I'm doing is what I've been doing my whole life.
I like that.
I want to talk about that transition, man.
Yeah.
Jumping off the cliff. I feel like there's a loaded story there.
Welcome to the Priority Traffic Podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Ben. Our mission is to provide our audience with practical information that can be put to work immediately in order to give yourself the tactical advantage on your everyday decisions.
All right. Today we got our good friend Desi Mayner in Mayner Leadership. Extensive background in leadership, athletes, coaching, teaching, and just being an all-around awesome guy. So, Desi, say hi to the folks out there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Priority Traffic Podcast.
Yes.
Pumped to be here today.
He is bringing the energy, and he's bringing us up. Can't wait. This is going to be an awesome conversation.
Heck yeah.
A lot of energy for clearly fasted and 1 cup of coffee. So I'm ready to see this man on too.
And I had my super healthy meal on the way here, a Cliff Bar, a protein bar, and all of the things that you do on the run to stay healthy.
The old trifecta bars.
Yeah.
Did you get a workout in this morning?
No, I did not, because I was getting my blood checked. So,
so that's what
I had
the
to
last
fast,
minute deal was.
Relax, chill out. Yeah, so I have to hit that this afternoon, but always good. So
yeah, man.
I'm here. I'm ready to roll.
That's
caffeine
perfect.
headache subsided. There we go. Thank you.
You know what's crazy about getting your blood checked? I do IVs every day. And I'm sitting there, I got a tiny little needle in there, and I just see my blood going in this tube, and I'm like, I won't get woozy. And she's like, on the 4th tube, and I'm like, I'm just gonna look away. I should be good with
every
this.
Time I have to do it every time. I gotta look away. Can't do it.
She's like, will you be all right with this? I go, oh yeah. This ain't nothing. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, maybe it's not it.
This is hurting.
Yeah.
When she pokes in, I'm like not watching, and then I'll give it a glance. Then it's just like so it's kind of weird.
I'm like, I'm giving myself an IV, but it's going the other way.
Yeah. What a weird scenario. So leadership, and we're gonna just kind of go broad on leadership today, but leadership in wellness, leadership in the fire service, leadership in life, family, and then self-leadership. Like, I think that's where it starts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that self-leadership even starts mentally first, before it even goes physical, to be honest with you. Because, you got to have your mind right before you're going to even walk in the gym.
Right.
Otherwise, if you had something right in your head before you even walk into the gym. So I think that mental health Obviously it's a stigma. It's one of the walls that you guys are trying to break down, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to different industries, different scenarios, different situations, different people. I think all of those things. I think it all starts in the head. You got to take care of yourself.
Dude, mental
brain,
game is
man,
huge.
Yeah. That brain can build you up and make you a beast, or it can make you cower in the corner at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like within a week's time, you can go from being a beast to being locked in if you're not careful. You gotta stay on it.
Absolutely.
Awful.
I mean, just even the sports game, the business game, like you can be on top of a mountain at 9 a.m. and want to be in a dumpster fire at noon.
Right.
Yeah,
I believe it.
And then back up at the top of the mountain by the end of the day. Like it's, so you got to be able to ride that roller coaster, roll through adversity, and these are all the things that I've learned in sports.
Yeah.
Honestly, that have worked throughout the test of life.
Sure. And sports are like pretty comparable. When I would say comparable to fire service, I mean like the high stress scenarios, right? Like
absolutely,
we have decisions under stress, and so the demand is moderately different than athletics, but at the same time, I don't have a 245-pound linebacker coming at me at 45 miles an hour trying to rip my head off.
Yeah.
Granted, I got to fight fire and do those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the demand is still the same when it comes to that pressure scenario.
Yeah, I think you build that. It's all relevant,
right?
The pressure that I can build in my head in front of 110,000 people, at the big house on national television with a 320-pound dude, and I got to snap the ball. The pressure that I build in my head could be very similar to the same thing you're doing before you go and run into a fire.
Sure.
And so I think it's all relative. Depends on the pressure that you kind of create in our own heads. But yeah, all relevant and all super important at the same time.
Yeah. You said something that really stuck out to me there is creation. Like you said create, but creation of like you're manifesting this in your mind.
Oh yeah.
This pressure or stress, depending on how you want to look at it. But it can always go good or bad.
Right.
But either way you think it's going to go, it's probably going to go.
Yeah. You're talking about visualization. You're talking about, the confidence levels and believing in your abilities and things like that. Like those aren't just sports. Those are, everything that we do.
Right.
Has to do. Every time you jump under a bar or anything like that. The same things apply.
Yeah.
And I think the same things apply when it comes to being a husband, to being a dad, to being a business leader. Like this goes throughout. Like people ask me all the time, like, "What's your industry?" And I'm like, "I'm industry agnostic."
Yeah, there you go.
And they always say, "Well, where did you work best?" And I say, "With humans."
Sure.
But also I'm decent with dogs.
Are sweet, right?
I'm good with dogs.
Try that one out, man.
So yeah, it's like look, people are always the problem.
Yep.
But the good thing is the people are always a solution.
Always.
Right? And it's just a matter of diving into that and figuring out and attacking it. Every time there's a problem, especially in terms of leadership, people are so scared to address the problem.
Sure.
And it's like, first of all, just ask them because it's not a secret. Everyone knows. I guarantee you we go into each of your, is it precinct? Is that what it is? Not a precinct.
Department,
station.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank on what that's called. Like there's problems and everyone knows them, but probably everyone doesn't talk about them.
No, definitely not.
And that's what I do when I come in. I'm like, well, let's talk about it.
There you go.
Right? Hey, there's an elephant right here. Why is no one saying it? Right.
Exactly.
But they're like, we need help with their culture. We need help with we'll just start talking about the elephant and things will come out.
Right.
So that's the things that we try to do.
Nice. I recently started utilizing I don't know if a euphemism or a quote, but we're humans by chance and we're firefighters by choice.
Love it.
Focusing on those wellness things, having those discussions, building up your mental game, your physical game, like that's all it's going to help you be a better human, which is going to make you better instantly at everything else you do.
Yes, no doubt. No doubt.
So you've got a thing called Mayner Leadership, a company, a business.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Tell me about that, man.
Yeah. So I was a teacher for about 10 years, special education teacher. I did a year of elementary, like 2nd through 5th grade.
Okay.
And then dove into high school, came back to my hometown of Linden and taught there 10 years for special education in high school.
Nice.
And then from there in year 9, 9.5, maybe. Really, the way I always tell the story is kind of the first bad thing that ever happened in my life happened, and I lost my grandpa. My grandpa was kind of like larger than life to me, patriarch of the family. It was my dad's dad, incredibly religious and spiritual. And I mean, this dude taught me how to fish. This dude taught me how to hunt. I mean, I probably spent the night with my grandparents till I was like 12. Right. And probably still did after that. Like they were very close with me. I know, very close. Second dad, really. That was really the first thing that ever happened, bad thing that ever happened in my life.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So I was super blessed.
Sure. Yeah, it made that long.
Yeah. And that one that hit me like a ton of bricks, man. First time dealing with grief and tragedy. And it wasn't even really tragedy because it was pretty expected. It was like 89.
Sure.
Right.
But going through that kind of started it. It planted the seed of like, I wonder what that means.
Right.
It's just self-reflection, self-awareness. And then about 18 months later, I lost my dad. And he was, take my grandpa and 10 exit. And that was my dad in terms of my life. My mom and dad were together and married and until death did them part. And it was fully unexpected. Like one night, done, gone. And that was absolutely horrible. I immediately became the patriarch of my family. I was the oldest of 3.
Sure.
And everyone's kind of looking to me and I'm grieving like harder than anyone could imagine. Like they almost had to call a medic for me at the funeral home. Like that's how bad it was. Yeah. I'll never forget it. I remember turning around at the funeral and seeing everybody, and it was standing room only. And there were people outside looking in the windows, like just to pay their respects. And I was like, holy smokes. Like this is the impact that he had.
Sure.
And he was a general supervisor at General Motors.
Okay.
But it was like, the impact that he had on people was massive.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I ever going to do this in a classroom?
Right.
Like, I don't know how that's possible.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Get it.
And I mean, person after person coming up to me and shaking my hand and people coming to our house afterwards, just saying, hey, I just want to let you know how important your dad was to me and all that.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I am not playing a big enough game.
Yeah.
Like I love the game that I was playing. I was super good at it,
yeah.
Making an impact, but it just wasn't a big enough game that I was playing.
Sure.
And it became more and more obvious and stronger. But the thing is I didn't know what game to go play.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I just kept telling my wife, I'm like, it's not here. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore.
Right.
And it was just that feeling just got stronger, stronger, stronger. So eventually I jumped off the cliff.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there with my principal and saying, I'm not coming back for the next school year. He's like, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, we're going to start a lawn business. We're going to start a construction business. We're going to do a home inspection business. None of those worked out.
Yeah.
Right.
None of them.
Thankfully.
There was, right. And there was many times that, I specifically remember sitting on my steps in my garage, my wife pregnant.
Oh,
so my dad had knew that my wife was pregnant with our first, but never got to see her.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Yeah. Very tough.
Yeah.
And I remember tying my boots, cold, muddy. I'm going to swing a hammer, for a buddy's, dad. It's work, while I figure this out.
Right.
And I, wanted to lead a construction business and all that. And I remember just like literally just crying, going, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I know it's not headed in the right direction.
Right.
And I remember she was just like, just keep working, keep trying. When she meant by working was like, keep listening, reading,
right.
Interviewing these people. Cause I interviewed everyone I could think of that was doing anything I was interested in.
Got you.
And she's like, I believe in you. You're going to figure this out. I'm like, holy crap, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. There's something to be said about having somebody that believes in you when you're at like your lowest point.
Oh, man. And she did, because I was down, man. I was down in the dumps for sure. Thinking, what did I just do?
Right. A little bit of fortification keeping you up.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she was the one. She was the sacrifice. She made the biggest sacrifices when it comes to me and trying to search it out and figure out what I was going to do.
Sure.
But one thing led to another, and I started diving into sports. I was like, all right, let's go back to what I know.
Right.
right? I know sports, I know athletes. And I was like, but the physical game is like, you know, it's easier to master. Sure, and there's a bajillion physical trainers out there, football specialists, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm more interested in this.
Yeah.
That's where I seem to find, you know, my biggest attributes and the ways that I would help kids, even in high school, try to get to the next level in college. So we dove into that, right? As athlete middle game coaching, it's still there today. You know, I'm still a part owner in that. And we work with athletes and with coaches and with teams working on their mental game.
Perfect.
You know, their confidence, their expectations, you know, just building that stronger, their teamwork. We even go into personalities and behavior and how to kind of build a team.
Nice.
And all those pieces, which is just awesome. So kind of fast forward, that led to a couple of business people saying, hey, this thing you do with sports, like I was an athlete and like, I'm kind of, you know, I'm now a new business leader and some of those things could help me. Do you do that? Well, when you're early on in business, you say, absolutely, we do that.
Yeah, I've been there.
Absolutely, we do that. And then you go home to your wife and you're like, hey, we got to make a program for XYZ.
ASAP.
Yeah, right. And I just sold this idea. And then but that started to work out. It started to work out pretty good. And before you knew it, I started to dive into like, oh, this leadership thing. I've kind of like been a leader for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah. And it's like when I found out, I was like, I was leading these leaders. And it was like, wow, this is going really well. They're getting some good results. And then that led to the next thing of like just business leadership. And really, because I don't ever view it as business leadership. I view it as just leading humans. So like it doesn't matter.
Keep it basic.
Yeah. And then so that's now kind of how I approach it. We come in, we unite a team, we build the leader, and it's really started to blossom. And now my wife's with me full time.
Oh, fantastic.
We just brought on a marketing director full time, which is cool. So we're just getting them onboarded.
Sweet.
And I honestly so blessed. I'm living the American dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'd be able to be here with hanging out with you guys on a Wednesday afternoon.
Great.
Which is just awesome.
Magic. Yeah.
You know?
Getting used to the fireman schedule.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. That takes a minute too. When you've been a teacher for that long, or you've worked a 9 to 5 or whatever,
right?
You know, and you're like, it's Wednesday, and maybe sometimes I'll like after we put the kids to bed, I'll work.
Yeah.
Maybe I worked until like midnight or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really have anything next morning.
Sure.
I sleep in till the kids wake up.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like my first call is not till noon. It's like that took me. I bet you that took me 2 years.
Yeah.
Before I was like totally okay with that.
There's something to be said for like a lot of people struggle with that whole busy productive thing.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be busy, Yeah. You grew up, if that's how, like, that's kind of how our culture conditions us too.
For sure. And it's like, it's a myth.
Yeah.
Some of my best stuff happens when I'm doing nothing.
Dude.
Right.
Like it's so true.
I call it fake busy. Somebody's like, "Oh man, I got all this stuff I got to do today." I'm like, what really are you gonna get done today?
Show me the
list. Like, what's like your priority list? You know what I mean? Like, don't give me all this stuff.
Right.
And that honestly is one of the first things that I attack with a leader, because they'll be like, I got this, and this. So we'll give them some tools, and I'll be like, okay, hold on. There's a difference here.
Yeah,
you're a leader, not a manager.
Right.
Leaders lead people. Managers manage projects and tasks. Okay. So
like that.
Which one are you? Because if you're a manager, like, then go over there and take a course management class. You're not for me.
Right.
Right. You want to learn how to lead people, which in certain roles, that's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, take that task list and we're going to delegate 90% of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to start going around and we're going to lead people.
Nice.
Right. And that's fun, man.
Yeah.
That's fun. And there's not enough of that. There's not enough of, you know, positions out there, roles out there that their job is to lead people. It's always like you're responsible for XYZ scope, project, task, whatever, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh yeah, and you have a team.
Right.
It's like, whoa, we need to flop that.
Yeah.
You have this team of 7 people, right? And those 7 people, you are all responsible to complete XYZ.
Sure.
Right. So we need to change that paradigm. And that's kind of one of the things I've set out to do.
I like that.
So yeah.
So as far as business goes, you get approached by companies, I'm sure. Do you ever get approached by just individuals who might not be in the leadership position yet, but are looking to be there?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So what we do there is we walk them through and talk about leadership potential.
Okay.
You know, like, I have a client right now. He is he was an RN and now he's working into being the director of RNs. So super new and kind of helped him in that promotion and things like that, getting started and all those types of things. And we do the same thing. Maybe we just don't have my beginning piece of getting the feedback from the team. So we kind of alter how we do kind of that like operational readiness assessment, kind of feedback survey type of thing. We call it a deep dive report.
Nice.
So that's kind of altered, but same concepts as far as what's the purpose of leadership, what are the mindsets of leadership, what are the actions that a leader should take, all those types of things. Here's how to build a team. Here's how to unite a team. Here's how to communicate. That's like always the problem. If you were to say, what is the biggest percentage of problems that I help solve? Communication's number one.
I believe it.
Yeah, I would say too.
Yeah.
Number one. And I see you both smirking, so you're probably like, oh yeah, that's relevant.
Yeah. And so
It is. It really is.
have you done anything in the fire industry?
No, not in the fire industry. No.
So
I would say the closest thing to that is not very close, to be honest with you. The tree. I would say the tree industry maybe would be the closest of like lots of levels.
Right. I can see that. So when you started with sports, I mean, a lot of the guys were athletes, some retired college athletes, whatever, and we had this, it's more or less, it's a leadership position, but we're a team, communication. We all have the same foundation and like building blocks of like a sports team. Is it competitive? Very competitive, especially station versus station with station pride,
Yeah.
And there's big voids in the fire industry with communication, teamwork, and just being like how well you work with people.
Yeah.
I'd say a good 80% of people are awesome. There's a good hard 20% that just don't mesh well with others.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, that's scary because stats show that it only takes about 3 to 5% to alter culture. Right? Like you think about, we had a 100 person football team.
Yeah. Sure.
It only takes 5 people on that football team to change the culture for the good or the bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So
like that,
we can go both ways.
Good or bad, we go both ways.
Oh.
So like you're honing in on 5%.
Gotcha.
And it's like, if you're like 2 out of 10, I mean,
Yeah. Who's got the voice on the team?
Exactly. Because usually those are the ones that are the loudest.
Right.
So they're heard the most.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
they're acting out.
Fill in the blank on politics, all the other stuff, right? That's going on in the world in general. But yeah, 3 to 5% alters culture.
That's a crazy number. That's a lot lower than I thought.
So
but it makes sense.
That's great because now if you can just, as a fire department, for instance, get 5 guys who are the model of what you think a leader needs to be.
Absolutely.
And you start putting those dudes in the right spots, in front of the right people, in front of your recruits, in front of your cadets, in front of maybe their peer trainers. They're training other people. Now you can effectively swim that culture another direction.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point that you didn't even realize that you said. Because what you're explaining is you want them to observe these 5 good ones.
Right. The models, right?
And that right there is one of the 2 keys when it comes to leadership and building a team is perception. Like you can become, let's say 1 to 10. You go from a 5 communication to a 9 communication.
Okay.
But I haven't experienced it. So I don't believe it.
Right.
Like what I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to building leaders, you need to look at skill, which is like a behavior, right? Or an action, and also the perception of that, right? Meaning the team needs to experience it and observe it. Otherwise it didn't happen.
Sure.
Right? Because you don't get to define your leadership.
Right.
Like I'm a leadership guy. I don't get to define your leadership.
Right.
The people you lead do.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the biggest things I am guessing with the way that the firefighter structure is people are defining their own. You're a captain. You're a lieutenant. You're a chief. Well, who cares what your title is?
Right.
I mean, John Maxwell, that's a positional title.
Right.
Right. But are people following you because of your position or because of what you've done for them?
Right.
There you go.
Right. That's the key. That's the key. And I feel like anytime there's like these levels, I mean, it's everywhere. It's in every industry, right? Your general foreman, maintenance supervisors, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right. Up and down the ladder.
Yeah.
It's like that, dude, the dog can wag the tail can wag the dog.
Yep. For sure.
Every single time. It's just a matter of like, how are you leading And are you working on the skill and the perception? You got to work on those in parallel.
Perfect.
Because if you don't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You wasted time, wasted energy.
Right.
You know? So yeah.
Dude.
So that was a bit of a rant there.
No, that was what we would call priority traffic, everybody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuggets in there. Go ahead and listen back to that portion, and we're going to catalog that in the archives of Fantastic.
It's pretty damn good.
Right. So where did you play college sports?
Yeah, so I was high school at Linden High School, and then I did 4 years.
Fenton guy.
We probably played against each other at one point.
Maybe, man.
Or he played against my brother. So Linden High School for high school, and then I did 4 years at Eastern Michigan University, played football there, and then transferred my last year of eligibility to Saginaw Valley State University.
Nice.
And then from there, you know how they say 15 minutes of fame?
Yeah.
I had like 7.
Nice.
Type of deal. So got to play in some all-star games, and
cool.
Had some cups of coffee with some people that could change your life. It didn't pan out. They wanted me to go to Canada. They wanted me to go to Europe.
Yeah.
They wanted me to develop.
Sure.
When the sport turns into a business, it's less fun.
Right. Like anything.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that panned out. And I transferred to Saginaw Valley because my brother was playing there.
Oh, sweet.
So I was the center. He was the quarterback.
Oh, nice.
So it was
dynamic duo. That's
pretty
sweet.
fun.
That's
so
real
I was
sweet.
protecting blood.
Yeah. So you're working a little bit harder. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, if he screwed up, I was yelling a little bit louder.
For sure.
So that was pretty fun. And I ended up getting more opportunities to play professionally at Saginaw than I ever would have gotten at Eastern, actually.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So pretty interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think explains the opportunity shift from one school to the other?
That's a good question. I think it was the connections that were already built with the coaches.
Okay.
I think the coaches play a big role in that recruiting piece, not recruiting from high school, but when pros are coming in, whatever connections that are already there.
Network job.
Yeah. I think it was just a stronger network there.
Cool.
I think that's about it, honestly.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And I was able to get some accolades in my last year at Saginaw Valley.
Yeah.
That I don't think I would have got that opportunity at Eastern.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
It was fun. It was good times.
Lots to learn from there's a lot to be said for college athletes. Like I know high school athletes, there's like, oh yeah, glory days, right? And we did it.
Yeah.
I made the all team. Okay,
whatever. We go.
But when you level up and go to college, that's a very small percentage of people playing at a Division I school or Division III.
1%.
Right. So super low. And there's so much to be garnished from that or garnered from that experience. So that's pretty awesome that you got to do that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was I think one of the pre-questions that you guys had was, what would you tell your younger self?
Right.
I would say have more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
regarding
just that process of getting there.
Yeah.
Because I was so incredibly locked in. I mean, I played football, basketball, baseball, and power lifted in the winter during basketball season, right? So, I mean, like I'd probably go a handful of days a year that I went home after school.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. I mean, I would go into school early. I'd be lifting and running. It was like my life's mission to get that full ride.
Nice.
Right, to get that scholarship.
You were beating the janitor to school and probably staying longer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's like, don't forget to lock up, kid.
Absolutely. I mean, they might as well gave me a key.
Right. Exactly. And a broom.
And that was great. And, I achieved everything that I set out to achieve, which is awesome. Such a blessing, but I definitely missed some fun along the way. And it wasn't that anyone else was pressuring me. Right. It wasn't my coaches, wasn't my parents. I mean, even my dad and my grandpa, like I was talking about earlier, all they said was, just do as good as you can.
Right.
If you're going to do it right and put your heart into it.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I'm not saying you got to go get a full ride because I can't pay for college. That never came up.
Right.
Right.
Now, the one thing he would say, because I would say, should I get a job? Right. The old JOB. And he'd be like, no, your job is to get A's and play sports.
Good for him.
That's cool.
And he'd say, I'd take care of the rest.
Good. That's pretty awesome.
Which is kind of funny now that I literally just say that out loud. I think I've taken that persona on for my own kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally in the moment thinking,
nice. Hey,
thinking I'm building the legacy so that my grandkids, because let's face it, 3 generations below you, probably no one will remember you.
Right.
Right. Which kind of sucks, especially a guy that's I love legacy.
Yeah.
Because of my grandpa, my dad, and me. So my great grandkids, that's probably the furthest.
Yeah.
60
so if I
to 80
can
years
do something,
from now,
if I can build something that they benefit from.
Right. They can hold
More
it.
importantly, that they can stand on the shoulders of.
Right.
And make even better and impact more people. Oh man, that's
how you change the world, bro.
Best, man. I mean, that's what gets me up. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah, it's passing the torch.
No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Foundational
to the nth degree. But I mean, going back to the sports, looking back, I'm always like, man, that was really fun. And I will say, at Saginaw Valley, I had the most fun that I've ever had playing football.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know what it was. You know, maybe it was from going D1 to D2.
Sure.
And I just had so much fun.
Yeah. Sag nasty, man.
I got back to just doing what I love and found out, hey, I was better at it when I just loved it. You know?
Yeah, right.
I had not so great a leadership at Eastern Michigan, but also learned a lot of cool things from that.
Right.
And was able to kind of take that and turn it into a positive at Saginaw Valley. And I mean, like I stepped on, like I was like captain, like day 2.
Sure.
Type of a deal, which was fun.
So you got the adversity of Eastern that probably chiseled you into a harder fella. And then you step onto Saginaw Valley and I don't know the change in like structure from human size from Eastern to Saginaw Valley, but likely you were a little bit bigger, a little bit quicker.
Yes.
Than some of those guys.
Yeah. Funny you talk about size. So when I graduated high school, I was 225 pounds.
Nice.
Okay. When I graduated college, I was 327 pounds.
Woo!
Okay.
What?
Yes. That's 102 pounds.
Record scratch.
Yeah. Right. Like seriously. So you talk about adversity. One of the things I had to do as soon as I signed, they switched coaches.
Oh,
and this was before all of those new rules that have been in place now.
Yeah.
So I had to stick with my commitment.
Right.
And they switched me from a tight end, a linebacker, to a center.
Oh.
So and they were like, pack the pounds on, buddy.
Yeah, right. Get ready for that line.
There was many times, like I had to gain a pound a week. And if I didn't, I would have Dawn Patrol. Okay. Which was Dawn Patrol means a half gallon of chocolate milk. Okay. And peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Okay. And so
I'm about it, dude.
That sounds awesome. It sounds good.
Yeah. Maybe the first day, dude. Maybe the second day.
I'm telling you what, though, is awful.
A weekend.
Get some good chocolate milk.
Awful, man. Awful. I mean, I used to.
Oh my god.
You talk about mental health and stuff like, I used to eat those Star Crunches, you know?
Yeah.
Which no one should ever eat.
No, yeah.
I used to eat 2 of them with peanut butter in the middle.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
I mean, like you start to, and here's the thing is I didn't have any support on how to gain weight.
Right.
It was just like eat.
Right. You had one goal, gain weight.
Do it.
So that's where I learned to have a sugar addiction.
Sure.
Right. That I still fight to this day in full transparency. Yeah. And all because of that, honestly. Lower back problems. I mean, it was brutal. There was definitely some adversity there. Definitely hardened me a bit.
Yeah.
Many times there was a little tiny Chinese restaurant right next to my apartment. And I remember it's Ypsilanti. So, my dad would come and visit me every now and then. He'd watch a practice or something. And,
sure.
I mean, I remember many times tears rolling down my eyes talking to my dad at that Chinese restaurant like, Dad, I want to quit.
Right.
I
like you're shoving egg rolls in.
This isn't for me. This is what I signed on for. And he would just stone cold. It probably was killing him inside.
Right.
Like now knowing that I'm a dad and like feeling that.
It definitely was.
Probably killing him inside to be like,
sure,
you can quit and start working. I'd be like, well, that sounds awful.
Yeah, right.
Like,
take for the Star Crunches.
So he was always there to like, encourage me, but not like a fluffy encourage. Like I always responded well to tough love.
Yeah.
And he was really good at that.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but yeah, man, definitely some adversity. So you can easily see when I went to Saginaw, it was like, man, this is fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And football's fun again.
Yeah. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
there's something to be said about having joy in what you're doing.
Man.
And to have to do it over and over without any kind of joy, like in return, that just grinds you a little bit.
Absolutely.
Makes you callous. So you've mentioned your dad quite a few times. I just want to ask, what is one thing that you find that you do? You're like, oh man, that's my dad coming out. That you absolutely are proud of and you love.
Consistency and reliability.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was not a stage question.
Nope.
Yeah, that was good.
I have that teed up.
Yeah.
And here's what I mean by that is you're going to get the same exact, I'll talk about my dad first. You're going to get the same exact person every single day of the week. And he would, if you needed him and you called, he answered and he would be there. Especially for the people that he loved the most in his family.
Nice.
Like I was giving kind of the example before of like, you do sports, and get A's. I got the rest.
Right.
That's exactly how I am. You're going to get the same Desi day in and day out, whether I feel like crap, whether I feel great. And like, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be there on time. And like, I'm going to be there if you need me.
Right.
Like I always lead with like, how can I help?
Yeah, sure.
Type of a deal. Like, hey, when I say call me if you need me, I mean it.
Yeah.
You know, and I get those two things. And to me, and it even trickled over to football of like the people that are the best in sports are you know exactly what to expect out of them from beginning of the game to the end of the game. Cause I know what I can get. And as a coach, I would always take that over the highs and the lows.
Yeah, sure.
The emotional ups and the downs. Right. And I threw 7 interceptions today, but I threw 7 touchdowns yesterday. I was like, no, I want the guy who throws 2 touchdowns
every day,
right, and 1 interception. Because I know I can work with that. I can incrementally make that better and better.
Right.
You know, so it sounded like a teed up question.
It sure did.
Definitely was not a teed up question for whoever's listening or watching. But yeah, and I pride myself on those things. I believe those 2 things are some of the most important attributes of a leader.
That's
consistency and reliability. But you can be consistently and reliably bad too.
Right.
You know,
we see it every day.
Hey, at least you know who to play.
Right. Exactly. So you can choose from the roster, no doubt. But yeah, so those would be the things that I get most from my dad, who got from his dad.
Sure.
And you know, so that kind of passes down.
That's awesome. We can really see that in you.
Yeah.
It's
I appreciate that.
It's pretty cool.
You always see me smile when I talk about my grandpa and my dad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They built me for sure, along with my saint of a mother who dealt with all of us along the way.
3 of you.
Yeah, essentially. Me and my brother are similar. My sister is more of that saint type.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
for sure. Oh man. So in the fire service, we kind of run into that too, where there's a lot of pervasive negativity and we don't get to pick who's in that day. Right. Some days the same dude comes in, not very consistent.
Yep.
Right. They're a little upset. Maybe they're a little down. Not really sure. But I think what you kind of touched on is trying to level out that consistency might help firemen just have a little bit closer to baseline receptivity to what happens, because we get all these emergencies. We don't. And if you're up or down, that emergency is going to like catastrophize everything in your head, or you'll respond well to it. But we just need you to throw 2 touchdowns and 1 interception.
And just keep doing that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that a big key there is awareness.
Sure.
I think that so many of us out there are like, I got that. I know who I am. No, you don't. Right? I didn't know who I was until I lost the 2 most important people in my life. I mean, it's always weird to say, but like, I wouldn't be here right now if my dad was still alive.
Yeah.
Mayner Leadership wouldn't exist.
Right. You'd be a teacher, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would. I'd be a teacher and a coach,
right?
You know, and not living my true purpose. But I think awareness and emotional awareness are so incredibly important, because I mean, I do personalities, right?
Yeah.
Human behavior. And like we have a simple, like kind of quadrant XY type of thing. It's always like, am I okay? And are you okay?
Yeah.
Am I okay? Are you not okay? I'm not okay. You're not okay. You want to operate in the I'm okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
Because if I'm being an absolute jerk and I know that you're not okay, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Right. Yeah, we have some issues there.
That's not good. Right. Meaning that means I'm not self-aware.
Right.
You know, and I think even when it comes to consistency, it's because of that unawareness. That's a word. Teacher quotes.
Yeah.
Right. I still got that, right? I still
good.
Teacher quotes.
Unawareness.
Yeah. The unawareness, the lack of awareness.
Sure.
They don't know that they're even doing it.
Right.
So one of the best things that we've put in place is we will ask the people around them. You know?
So how does that go?
Well, I always say like kind of like the punchline is like, if you want to know how you're doing, ask the people around you.
They know you best. They got to work with you day in and
day out.
They
will know. They will tell you the truth, you know, those types of people. Well, we do it anonymously. So that kind of enhances the truth a bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like if you don't attack that, the resentment is just going to grow.
Absolutely.
It's the ugly truth of it. Like if you, like you can help that person with content, you can help them with lots of stuff, but like you have to, if they don't want to, they're not going to.
Right.
So you have to do something that kind of jars them a bit.
Right.
Otherwise they're not going to switch that desire of wanting to change or make an improvement.
Absolutely.
And that's a bummer.
Yeah. And how often do you run in these leaders that ask for help and you realize that like they see themselves in a leadership role, but maybe they're really dropping the ball. And like the people that are working for them or surround themselves around this person every single day are just like, he needs help. But the other guy thinks he's like top tier.
So every now and then we'll get one that I call it's irreconcilable.
Okay.
Right. And that kind of report that I was talking about, that asking those questions that I do with individuals and teams, and kind of exactly like you're explaining, is my check to be like, are they willing to and want to?
Right.
Because a lot of the questions I ask there, is this person willing to ask for help?
Yeah.
Is this person willing to listen to what is told to them and make changes? And if those are all like super negative, it's like, I'm gonna ask that question.
Yeah.
Because I'm being paid to ask that question.
Right.
And I love this, like even when I'm brought in to fire somebody.
Sure.
I truly believe that is the best for them. So it's like, if I don't, I am leaving something on the table.
Right.
For them. Like, and I truly believe that. Like, yeah, I'm getting paid, but I wouldn't be able to do it unless I believed in it.
Yeah.
So that's where I go with it. Is
Gotcha.
I attacked it. I'm like, look, I say, look, here's all the awesome stuff. Right. And then here's all the bad things that people are saying about you.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You did that.
Just clear reflection.
What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there has been, I can think of 2.
Okay.
Over 5 years.
So that's pretty uncommon to come across.
Yeah, because usually if they're already irreconcilable, they're probably on the verge of being fired anyway.
Okay.
Or not asking for help.
Yeah. Or
Right.
they're a narcissist.
Yeah.
And like, I don't need help. It's like, sure, you'll call me when you do.
Yeah.
It's,
Call me when you're looking for a new
that
job.
probably sounded super cocky, but
No, but I mean,
it's true, man. We see it. We see it.
we get phone calls when people need us too.
yeah.
So it's legit. It happens.
Yeah, there you go.
And typically it's when there's a fire, right?
Uh-huh.
Like when shit's on fire, and I mean this in like proverbial, like in your life, like you got a section, let's just say, of wellness that is just causing a fire under your ass, and you just keep ignoring that shit. You can't move past it. You can't just go excel and become a high performance firefighter when you're avoiding like sleep, physical, mental, emotional wellness stuff.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And that's, you mentioned that people don't tend to shift before until something dramatic happens. And in the fire service, a lot of that is the way that our change occurs. It's all retroactive. It's all reactive. Like something X happened, so now we need to focus on mental wellness. Well, unfortunately, it's like, well, we need to focus on mental, like wellness before that crap even happens.
Right.
I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Dude, we say that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really say that, but that is exactly what we're trying to preach. And we're screaming that over in the corner. Just, hey, wellness. Well,
yep.
Right?
Yeah. The reactive piece. Because, I mean, that reactive piece, the bad thing could be really bad.
It could be real bad. And it's going to be real bad for one person.
And it could be self-imposed really bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, usually when we can get that kind of thing from the people around them, that's enough to make them go, oh, wow. You guys knew too, huh?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, yep, there's never any secrets. Like everyone knows if you're struggling.
Yeah. It manifests and shows itself up.
That's the goal. That's the goal that can get them before it just starts getting worse. Because there's usually a point of almost no return.
Sure.
Right.
When they're just going down a black hole.
And then that's the awareness piece is if you can get more people aware of symptoms, signs, behaviors that we can, and again, this is something that I think it's probably nothing I would push on a first day rookie, but a probationary firefighter, they need to be very well understanding of behavioral like wellness. And all of that stuff. Like we're firemen, we're medical professionals. We should be very, very well versed in the importance of sleep, just as an example.
Yeah.
Like
if sleep, fitness, and
all
I know the
those
one thing,
things.
like when I first entered in, like a fun thing to do is to drink with the guys, and like there's to a point, there's nothing wrong with it. But some people just turn into a habit. And then once you get that habit, man, it's hard to break the habit. I've seen people get turned upside down by that habit.
Absolutely.
Marriages, life, finances, anything,
Yeah.
And that just becomes like their new baseline of coping with everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, it gets exceeded. They'd have to drink more to cope with the worst things.
Right.
And that ugly statement of status quo.
Right.
And that's how we've always done it. Oh, I hate that.
Yep.
Right.
That's a red flag to me.
I think one of the things too that is a stigma in business, and I mean, really every industry, is the concept of help. Like, ask for help.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to know everything.
Right.
I mean, if you think back, and everyone watching and listening, the person that you followed the strongest, the best leader in your life, right? Most likely they were willing at some point to be like, I don't know that, but we're going to figure it out together.
Right. Sure.
Or I'm going to find that out for you. Like, you don't have to be the guru on the mountain. You got to be the guide on the side.
Yeah.
The guru on the mountain is, Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Right.
There's one of him. One. Right. One.
Yep.
And, all the other ones, your best leaders are, the Tim Duncans.
Right.
Type of people. Reading a great book called Captain's Class by Sam Walker.
Okay.
And he basically researches, I think it's 13 of the greatest sports dynasties ever in any sport. Right. And he puts some requirements on what's a team and things like that.
Yeah.
But all of them, none of them were the guru on the mountain. They were always the guide on the side. And the thing that they were really good at controlling, their emotions. Impeccable emotional control.
Yeah.
Never
keeping that
panicked.
consistency.
Yeah. Think ice in their veins with, in the fourth quarter type of deal, and I think that, they were all willing to figure it out together. Yeah. And that is the leader. Yeah. The leader that's like, how can I help versus here's what to do.
Sure.
That's a massive difference. That's servant leadership instead of go do X, Y, Z.
Right.
Instead of coming the people in the trenches know best.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right? And I always say in the trenches because I was a, offensive lineman.
Right.
Right. So I had my face in the dirt while they were celebrating the end zone.
Yeah.
But the people in the trenches know best. They're the ones doing the work. They're the ones making everything happen.
Yeah.
So if whoever the leader is, the boss, the chief, whoever, if they're coming and saying do X, Y, and Z, and it's like, well, when's the last time that you ran into a fire?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And replace fire with a business problem, X, Y, Z. When's the last time you dealt with clients, customers, whatever, right? You haven't been on the floor in how many years?
Yeah. Right.
And you're telling us how about you say, hey, how can I help?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, give me what's going on and how can I help?
Yeah.
Right. You're going to get a lot further, a lot faster.
I'm sure.
Because those are the people that make it happen.
Yeah.
Without them, nothing happens.
Right.
You're just like this guy screaming on a mountain.
Yeah.
Right. And that's called a psycho.
That is psychotic. That's very
but how many of those do we have out there? A ton.
Yeah. We see that a lot in the fire service too. We call ourselves frontline responders or first responders. We are at the cutting edge of chaos every single day. Mm-hmm. And I use the term chaos moderately loosely, but basically uncontrolled stuff.
Yeah.
Chances are there's a fire somewhere or somebody's on the verge of dying.
Yeah.
We are the front line. We are in the trenches day in and day out. And again, not to harp on the wellness thing, but to harp on the wellness thing. It's like, y'all, we need leaders who are pushing wellness back down our throats for our own good.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it nearly enough.
And those leaders need to have the courage to say, hey, I struggled with X, Y, Z.
Sure.
I bet you do too.
Right.
Because every time, you're not the only one in the room. Every workshop and training that I do, somebody will say a big word or something and I'll go, can I be the idiot in the room?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. And usually you see people's eyes kind of go,
yeah. Dummy, but I agree with them.
I mean, literally just yesterday, I was like, I'll be the idiot in the room today.
Yeah.
Right. What is culture? Right. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Community. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Right. Yeah,
right. And I'm just literally, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
But be the person that's willing to be like, hey, I struggled with weight.
Sure.
I gained 100 pounds in college. I struggled with weight. I got addicted to sugar.
Yeah.
So, hey, I bet you somebody else is like that here.
Yeah.
Oh, talk to me. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And addictions, I mean, you can talk about those without this specific topic.
Oh, yeah.
Being brought up. Right.
For sure. And just problems like, hey, tragedy, grief, egotism, all of these things, stuff. That are just sometimes you got to have the courage to go first to be the first in the fire. No pun intended.
Sure. Right. Sure.
Because if not, they're not going to be willing to.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way to lead that situation.
Right. Take that first step.
Yeah. Transparency,
right?
Vulnerability. Hey, I'm your leader, but like, I'm not perfect.
Right. I'm just a human.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. I mean, from the top of the top,
and that's just like we talked the other day, beginner's mind, like approaching stuff with an open, receptive mind to, I don't know all the answers here.
Oh yeah.
Because nothing is ever going to be the same.
Yep.
Right? Except for 1 + 1. But
one of the things that we talk about communication, one of the things that I've learned is that the higher you go, the more people listen and the less that you even have to. So if you can change that, because that's not right. That's not good. Right. Because now you don't have your ear to the tracks. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
So one way to change that is speak as if you were right. Listen as if you were wrong. Like listen as if you have you're talking to me, you have the golden nugget to life. And I'm just like, what is it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Type of a deal. Or maybe what I said was wrong and you're correcting me. Right. So like listen as if you were wrong.
I like that.
Yeah.
And leaders do too much talking and not enough asking.
Sure.
Ask more questions.
Better questions, better.
It's like,
better
I'm a
answers.
huge fan of Socratic leadership, which is like, hey, how are you doing? Where are you going? Where are we going? What do you need? What can I help with?
Yeah.
And just ask those questions. Before you know it, you're like, I know exactly where we need to go now. Then when you say one thing, and it's the one thing that's going to matter the most.
Right.
Because you understand instead of like, here's what we need to do. It's like, well, you don't even know what's going on.
Right.
I haven't even seen you in a month. Who are you?
Yeah.
Right. Here's what we're going to do. What? No.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe you.
Right.
Or follow you.
Yeah. Let's talk about this,
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. So Socratic leadership, could you explain that real quick?
Yeah. So it's leading with questions.
Okay.
Right. It's best in a one-on-one scenario, but you can also do it in a small group scenario. Where are we going? Where are you going? What's missing? How can I help you better?
Okay.
Curiosity.
Where could you offer more for the department? Just literally questions.
Cool. Okay.
About everything. Hey, where could we become better communicators? Where we? And I always like to kind of look forward instead of like, where did we suck? Where did we suck?
Yeah.
Versus how can we get better?
Yeah.
Looking ahead, always less attacking to the person.
Yeah, right.
Like I always say, even when we do systems, like you want to create impersonable systems. So when something goes wrong, you can attack the system, not the person.
Right.
Sure.
And that's just healthier.
Yeah.
Right? It's just healthier.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by Socratic. And I always like to look forward in that. Because now we got young millennials and Gen Zers coming up. They need to be heard.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to give them that opportunity to be heard. And also it's the best way to find out information about your people.
Oh yeah.
And about your company, your department, whatever. Yeah. And because you know which way to steer it then.
Okay. So to add on to that, you talk about looking forward. Like what is your take and how do you value or perceive vision?
Vision,
life,
I think
all of it.
Vision is a two-part. It's a head and the heart.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. The head, like it's got to be tactical, functional. Like here's what we're going to do. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3 ABC, but I think like a 3-step plan.
Right.
It's like Donald Miller talks about a 3-step plan and building a StoryBrand. It's absolutely amazing.
What book is that?
Building a StoryBrand.
Okay.
Like give people a 3-step plan because they're not going to remember 4.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But 3 is like, okay. Right. So it's like, hey, if you're going to do leadership coaching with Desi, we're going to get a deep dive report. We're going to create an action plan and they're going to be coached and transform.
Okay.
You were like, oh, right. It's like, I didn't really give you a whole lot there.
Right.
But I did give you a bit.
Goal. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I gave you a bit. So I think vision, when it comes to the head, you give them a 3-step plan.
Okay.
Right. And then you answer why. You
There you
have
go.
to answer why. Because every time anyone is casting a vision to us, what are we asking ourselves? We're saying, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Right. You got to answer that question for them.
Yeah.
And if you do that well and articulate it, oh man, you'll get crazy good buy-in.
Right.
Right. And then the heart, now you got to dig into your why, to your passion, to your purpose. For like an orthodontist, like everyone deserves a smile. They can be confident in it. Right. For me, everyone deserves the opportunity to be fulfilled and achieved. Right. And it's like, well, because most people have to pick. And I'm going to say, screw that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Listen, we can do both, right? We can get you in the perfect sweet spot of your pain, your passion, and your proficiency.
Yes.
Type of a deal. So, and that's where it's like, you see, like I even did it right there.
Yeah, you did.
Like the head and the heart, you got to have both of those pieces. Like they've got, Like, you've hit the heart when you've got people with tears rolling down their eyes.
Sure.
Yeah.
With your tears rolling down your eyes. When you start to talk about it, now you know you're headed somewhere when it comes to the heart.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when a vision, head and heart, the 3-step plan, and then get behind the why, the purpose, get vulnerable in the heart piece. And that's how you're going to create the most followership, the most buy-in. That's how you're going to get people to run through a brick wall for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's powerful stuff.
That is.
So
that is heavy.
it has only taken 5 years to get to that clarity of vision,
Nice.
and then but another 15 years, I'll be an overnight success.
Yeah. Right.
So,
as far as everybody else knows.
Right.
Man, this guy came out of nowhere.
It's like, sure.
Right. Whatever you think.
Yep.
I'd say 5 years is actually pretty fast, Or having that kind of structure.
Honestly, super blessed on that, man.
Yeah.
Just sheer grit, honestly.
Yep.
Angela Duckworth wrote a book called Grit.
Yeah.
The Passion and Perseverance.
Mhm.
And honestly, it's the perfect definition for how I've gotten even to this little bit that I am right now.
That's awesome.
It's just sheer grit.
Yeah. Man, I love it.
I'm unwilling to quit.
Yeah.
There's
something to be said about that,
Yeah. Scarily so.
Right.
More than once.
Yeah. Knock down 7 times, get up 8. We say that a ton. And it's true in every different facet of life.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no doubt about it. So when you get up, you got a goal. Do you got goals?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I bet you got goals.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in full transparency, I want to build an 8-figure company that doesn't sacrifice my health or my family.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That leaves a legacy for my great grandkids.
Generational wealth and something to work from.
Generational wealth and the opportunity to impact as many lives. I want more people than my dad had at his funeral. Right? So, which I'm still competing with him. Yeah. He also has killed a bigger deer than me still.
Well, yeah, I
still have to beat him in that.
What size?
He was it was a whitetail from Iowa. He scored 141.
Iowa's not fair.
And I haven't beat that. So a cool story with that.
Yeah.
Me, my brother, and my dad have killed 4 whitetails of that same caliber.
Yeah.
All within probably 500 yards of each other. On this little small public chunk in Iowa. Yeah. Been going there for a while.
Where's
That's
that?
where in southern Iowa. South central Iowa. Yeah.
It's somewhere in the US,
You ever see that little meme on Facebook? Yeah. You go 2 miles south, you turn left, and there's a guy named Hank. He'll take you to the east, and then not go back west, go a mile south, and there's the fishing hole.
Yeah, right. Hey, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Exactly.
I got a good buddy. He's a big muskie fisherman, and he thought he was keeping his stuff real secret. Now when he's posting his pictures, he blurs out the background. I'm like, you're not fooling anybody, bro. Like, we know where you live, and narrow it down.
Absolutely. And I think with that goal comes how many people can we impact?
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to think of myself as an advocate for the trenches.
Yeah.
Like those people that, they don't want to be the crazy entrepreneur or the leader. Like they just want to go and they want to do their thing and then they want to go home with their family. Right. And that's awesome. And I think those people deserve to be happy and to be fulfilled and to not be yelled at and screamed at and unrealistic expectations. Like sometimes I see myself as kind of like the Batman of those people.
Right. Sure.
Like those people need to be led well.
Yeah.
Because without them, our dreams don't happen.
Right.
Right. So I think sometimes that becomes really important to me. Like I know I'm a leadership coach, but that's one of the things that I believe. And to keep people and to force them into positions that is not a mixture of their pain, passion, proficiency, sweet spot. Like they don't like doing it. Get them out of there.
Right people, right chair.
Yeah. Get them on the right bus in general.
Yep.
And like you will have much happier people, which are much more engaged people.
100%.
Which leads to employee retention. Yeah. Right. Which leads to better productivity. And like, you see where this goes?
Yeah. Money saving.
Right?
Hey.
Exactly. And happier people. Which means you have better families, which means you have better communities. Like it's pretty good trickle, call it the trickle effect of leadership. Yeah. And, I think, so that's my goal is to be a member at dropping a stick in that pond.
Dude, that is, I mean, I couldn't find a better way to say it. And that really parallels our mission here is to help people become the best version of themselves, best human version, and then set them free to change the world.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think we all could agree that it starts with wellness. Mm-hmm. And in the fire service specifically, the sooner you can get started on your wellness, closer to your higher end date, and start learning and getting that knowledge and upping your awareness, as the importance of wellness goes, it's gonna change your life, but you're gonna do better for everybody around you.
You're gonna change the life of the people around you, for sure.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. I mean, you teach and preach leadership. Like that's what you do. That's your profession.
Yeah.
And clearly you're professional. You know all about it. You know what I mean? You took this transition from being a teacher, which so you're doing, like curriculums and you're planning that out all summer long. I guess I don't really know the ins and outs of that, but there's got to be some planning behind it.
Yeah.
But now you're this business professional. You work with your wife. You just brought on another person. You take care of these clients. How do you keep focused? How do you arrange your days? Like what is this? Is it just in your mind? You have a whiteboard? Like what do you do? Because
I got lots of whiteboards.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 2 of them in my office.
Nice.
It's not that big of an office even. One whole wall is a whiteboard, and lots of organization. I think some of the pieces that I learned as a teacher helped me stay very organized.
Gotcha.
Like I run a very tight schedule.
Okay.
This is my third thing of the day, and this started at 10 a.m.
Nice.
I know.
Right? And I have 3 more things today, and I'll still be able to be completely free by the time my 3 and 5-year-old are home by 4 p.m.
Beautiful.
Right. So I keep those priorities in place. Like Saturday and Sunday are 3.5 out of 4 times family.
Nice.
Right. And most of the time Friday is always internal. Like I do like my marketing. I work on all of my internal client work on that day. And then like I run a tight ship. I only go from usually 9 to about 3:30.
Okay.
But I will crank during that 9 to 3:30. Right. Which is exactly how I used to do teaching.
Right. That makes sense.
Like I wasn't the person that, got there super early or stayed super late or brought a bunch of work home. No, man. When I was there, I'm working.
Yeah.
Right. I'm doing my thing. And it gets a little bit more complicated when you got to drive places. You got to Zoom here. You got a training there.
Right.
Yesterday I had 2 trainings. One was at a church.
Yeah.
Another one was with a tree company up in the Thumb.
Oh, wow.
Right. So like while I was driving for 2 hours yesterday, I made like 17 phone calls, listened to a half hour of a book.
There you go.
Like, so I'm naturally productive. Right.
Yep.
And those are just some of the ways that I kind of hack that system.
Right.
But there's no doubt early stages of business, it's organized chaos.
Yeah.
What time do you wake up?
It depends on whether I work out in the morning or the afternoon, but before 6.
Okay.
Before 6,
Nice.
Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6:30.
Right.
But before 6 usually.
Nice.
That's when my brain wakes me up.
Yep.
I have an occasion. Sometimes my brain calls a meeting in the middle of the night and I have forced to attend.
I hate that.
But yeah, I know I can't stand it. And one of my offices is right in my other bedroom.
Okay.
So I can go in there and whiteboard whenever I want.
That's dangerous.
It is. It's very dangerous, So those are just some of the things, but I absolutely like developing curriculum, like you were saying, running a tight ship and scheduling and organizing and the tools that we use, like those all perfectly transferred over into how I run business and how my wife runs all of our operations. And things I show up and blow up most of the time.
Yeah.
Like that's like I'll walk in and be like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Type of a deal. And she's already got, yesterday, she had 2 bins perfectly, people's names on the full, perfect.
Right.
And I'm like, what is it? Which training is this? It's disc 1. All right, cool. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready. I've already done it 50 times. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's
professional at your job.
Yeah. And knowing our strengths, she's really good at that. She's that C personality. She's really organized, and I'm more that DEI personality, fast paced, love to be on camera and talk to people, connect with people and teach.
Yeah.
So those are just some of the ways that answer that question a little bit.
That's a good way to answer the question.
Oh, yeah. Organization for the win.
Oh my gosh. It's key.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm a lot less organized now than I was when I was a teacher.
So you think
my desk was perfect as a teacher. Now it is not.
Oh.
Actually, I have a dump table behind my desk. And like every couple of days, my wife comes in and cleans it up. Because she's the organized one, because I just got to go from thing to thing.
Right.
So it's honestly a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
But I have to reprioritize. Like my priority is people.
Right.
Right. So I have to keep the first thing.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt. There's no doubt sometimes you get down to 7 hours of conversations, like tough conversations or deep conversations. And then your wife and your kids want to have deep conversations. Yeah, and you're like,
tap
I'm
out.
exhausted.
Dude, for real.
Like, honey, can we talk about something, deep? And it's like, yes, absolutely.
Right.
So you always got to make sure there's a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah, I'll give you the last 7% I got. Yeah,
right. And my goal is to build something that they get the first percentage.
Right.
My goal is to create something that doesn't require all of my time and my dollars for hours type of thing.
Right. Sure.
So that they get the first part of me. I would love in 5 years that I take my kids to school, I pick my kids up.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
right.
That's
and
awesome.
then I work in the meantime.
Sounds like a fantastic
which is
goal.
like what, 6 hours a day?
Right.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect. And I say that will be.
It will be.
Eventually.
That will be.
It's
Let's
on its way.
manifest that right
Let's
now.
go.
But yeah.
Dude. Well, this has been a freaking phenomenal conversation on leadership. Do you have anything else you want to say? Maybe you've recommended, I think, 3 books already, so we're going to get those in. But you did in the pre-interview, you mentioned Relentless, and you're the second person to bring this book up. But I just want your take on it.
Yeah. So Relentless by Tim Grover. A lot of it is about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And for me, the way I viewed it, obviously I resonated with it because it's a sports book.
Right.
Right. And Michael Jordan was the tip of the sword.
Right.
Jordan's better than LeBron, just for any of you.
Just to get that clear.
Yeah, Gen Zers who thinks LeBron's good. I don't even follow basketball that great, which is funny because I was an all-state basketball player.
Nice.
The way I saw it was kind of that mixture of perseverance and grit.
Okay.
Of the way that I view business and entrepreneuring and even leadership is like, just be unwilling to quit.
Okay.
And like winning is hard and keep winning is even harder.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And it's just that he talks about the cleaner mindset, like always having that cleaner mindset. It's natural to me. And the hardest part is when you kind of got to divert and say, how is it that you're consistent and reliable? What is it like? Where do I teach that to someone? It's like, oh man, that's going to take a minute for me to break down.
Sure.
That was one of those books that kind of really started to give me some of the language for that.
I gotcha.
And explained it to be like, oh yeah, that.
The language is huge.
It is, because we're like, I know it. I've internalized it.
Yeah, you can feel it.
But how do I articulate it?
Right.
That's harder. And especially someone's like, teach me how to have grit. And I'm like, all right, get on the line.
Right.
Like, and don't quit.
I'll show you a couple things,
right?
We're going for a 30-mile run.
A lot of time, it wasn't like this like scientific approach. It was like just battle tested.
Right.
And it was like, oh, look, I mean, it's like the SEAL teams, like Bud's training.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like those who stayed became really tough.
Right.
What was the recipe? Don't quit. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Can you explain that? Well, first don't.
And then here's what quit means. Don't do that. There's a red thing over that.
There's a bell. Don't ring it. Don't get the donut. Don't get that stuff. Like just hang in there.
The donut, Jocko, sugar-coated lies. That's a great one.
Jocko's awesome.
But yeah, so that's why I really liked that book.
Nice.
Of just sheer grit, sheer perseverance, and winning and winning and winning. Because also on the other side, why I liked that book, it made me realize some things about myself.
Okay.
Of like, oh man, I'll get that trophy. And I mean, I won't even hold it for 2 seconds. And I put it down to go get the next one.
Right.
Because the trophy doesn't mean anything to me. The process leading up to it, like the feeling is what it is. Dude. And I thought, man, I don't know how healthy that is. Maybe every now and then we ought to just hold the trophy for a second.
Yeah. You get like a couple minutes.
Like, hey, let's smell the rose for a minute.
For sure. For sure.
So that's one of the things that jumped out to me. Like he doesn't talk about that. It was kind of a self-realization while I was reading it.
Yeah. Nice.
It was like, oh, maybe I'm a little too hardcore on some of these scenarios at certain times.
Yeah.
So those are the things that jumped out the most to me.
Nice.
It's a good one. He has another one called Winning. That's pretty similar, honestly, dives into more of the Kobe stuff.
Okay.
And his mindset and things like that. But sports guy, super competitive. You'll resonate with that book.
Perfect.
It will definitely help you.
Awesome.
For sure. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this has been a fantastic interview with our buddy Desi Mayner from Mayner Leadership. I just want to say thanks on behalf of everybody in the audience and listening, watching. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. Hopefully there's some nuggets in here. Anything you got, brother?
Dude, there's a million nuggets in this thing.
I know.
I can't thank you enough for coming out here and spending your time. I know you have a busy schedule.
Appreciate it.
Being an entrepreneur is not easy. So
absolute blessing.
Absolutely. We are Priority Traffic Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Ben.
This is Desi Mayner, and we really appreciate everybody's time watching, listening. Please subscribe, like, and hit the notification button. Check us out on all your social media avenues. Do you got a website?
Yeah, www.maynerleadership.com, and then you can find more stuff like this anywhere. Just search Desi Mayner. Any of the platforms, you'll get videos and stuff from me.
There you go. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Out.